let me throw this to you. What percentage of total fungus do you think we know in the world? Just take a guess.
Probably like 10%.
Yeah, that's pretty close actually. Estimates are around percent. It's a pretty interesting and fascinating field that has real life attributes. Like people are making alternative materials with fungi, such as styrofoam replacements, leather replacements. Mushrooms could also break down toxins in the ecosystem. Penicillin, which was the first antibiotic that like revolutionized Western medicine as we know it, is a fungi. People all the time come up to us and are like, are these magic mushrooms? And like, I'm here to inform people that all mushrooms are magic, but just not gonna make you hallucinate. I'm Ben Lillibridge, founder and fungi of Malama Mushrooms, Hawaii-based functional mushroom company.
What is Malama Mushrooms?
Malama is the Hawaiian word for protect, preserve, and nurture. And this serves as the standard for all the work that we do, from creating functional superfood products that utilize mushrooms and integrate easily into daily routines to give benefits such as immunity, cognition, cognitive health, energy, fighting fatigue.
When did you discover that mushrooms had the power to do all of this, and why did you start this company?
You're not law enforcement, right? All right, good. So in college, I cultivated some mushrooms in my dorm room. Don't tell my mom. And those kind of opened my eyes to the world, the natural world of plants and fungi and healing. I kind of wanted to devote my life to exploring it more, but no one was hiring for enthusiastic mushroom guy, believe it or not. So I just decided to create the job myself. I started Malama Mushrooms, began cultivating these mushrooms in a lava tube cave in Kona, Hawaii. Eventually, it's snowballed into a bigger offering of shelf-stable products that can mix into coffee, tea, smoothies, etc.
What are some of the major benefits you would say that your products offer to consumers?
We always look at the science. So we look at the clinical research based on these mushrooms, such as lion's mane has several clinical trials showing that it reduces cognitive decline. So they gave people a placebo and lion's mane over the course of several weeks, and the people receiving the lion's mane performed higher on like cognitive tests such as memory tests and like counting backwards from 100 in intervals of 4, like random things. So we lean into what the actual literature says. And lion's mane is a very popular mushroom right now, so that's one I always lead with. But there's ones like reishi that help reduce stress, fatigue, anxiety, help with the immune system. Cordyceps also helps with energy, but it's not like a stimulant like caffeine, which always comes with the debilitating crash. It actually promotes your body's natural production of ATP, the body's energy currency. And so those are the three I always talk about because I feel like that's the ones that people are most looking for is brain function, energy, fighting fatigue, and just immune wellness.
So can you talk a little bit more about the products that you offer, specifically the mushroom coffee, and how that works differently than just regular coffee?
It all kind of starts with the actual mushroom. So we use 100% fruiting body. In an analogy of like an apple tree, we use like the apple, the fruiting body, versus some companies choose to use the mycelium or the roots. We focus on the fruiting body just because it has more historical benefits and more clinical studies and scientific studies on them. So we powderize and extract them for 3 hours to make them bioavailable because raw mushrooms aren't that digestible by humans. And then that goes into all our products, including our coffee, as you mentioned. So we also have cacao mixes, which are mixed with the mushrooms and Ecuadorian cacao and cinnamon. And that can go into your coffee, or people drink it by themselves if they're not trying to drink caffeine. And then our coffee, we use some Kona blend. We're based Kona, so we get beans from our farmer friends, mix it with the mushroom concentrate, and then people just make that like normal coffee, brew in a drip machine or French press or pour over. And all the idea is to not change your routine, but get those benefits to just optimize your day.
How does the addition of mushrooms contribute to this no jitters, no anxiety, kind of different effect than just coffee has?
So mushrooms contribute to reducing the negative effects of caffeine, such as jitters and the crash, as you point out, because one, again, they work with your body's natural systems to give you the effects people look to caffeine for. They're looking to caffeine for energy and focus, right? Lion's mane actually produces new nerve cells in your body to help with memory and cognition. So it's not just tricking your body into thinking it has more energy, it's actually building new nerve cells and brain cells. In the case of cordyceps, like I mentioned, it produces a similar compound to ATP in your body, which is your body's natural energy currency. And all through that, you actually need less caffeine because you're getting the benefits through the mushrooms without the crash. So that's the biggest reason. And there's also like digestive benefits to them too. They're prebiotic. So some people have upset, like acidic results from coffee in particular, and it actually can help with that by giving your body the healthy nutrients for digestion. The real benefit of the mushroom coffee comes down to the mushroom and the benefits that the mushroom provides. I think being mixed with coffee is really just a matter of convenience and a lower barrier of entry to the Western world who loves coffee. So it's like not that far of a pitch to be like, you just make this like normal coffee, but you get the mushrooms. So obviously caffeine also helps with uptake. I believe it's also a vasodilator, increases your heart rate, so kind of can help with delivery of the medicinal compounds. But the coffee is really a carrier for the mushrooms, both culturally and, literally the mushrooms are mixed with it. So the real magic is happening from the mushrooms itself. The coffee is just an easier sell for the consumer who loves coffee.
What would you tell consumers to look for, or like specific questions they should be asking themselves when they're buying a mushroom coffee? Because it is still kind of like, what is that? Like, I don't know. So
the biggest thing I talk about in terms of sourcing is this whole debate of fruiting body versus mycelium on grain. The issue with myceliated products is that they're cultivated on grains such as rice or oats, and the end product inherently has that rice or grain in their final product. So the main thing is that some people don't want to be or cannot consume grain, and they have to consume those products. And that's why I always recommend 100% fruiting body products. So, including us, but also many others. For Sigmatic, I believe Everyday Dose does as well. Kind of where we differentiate from those guys is that if you just wanted lion's mane powder extract, I believe most of those brands sell it always mixed with some other botanicals, such as coffee. And some people just want a 1 pound bag of lion's mane that they could like bake with, put in their smoothie, coffee, take by itself. And that's kind of where we offer a niche, especially with some of our Hawaii grown stuff. Hawaii is one of the most beautiful, fertile places in the world, the year-round growing season. So that's kind of an interesting niche that we got going for us.
You kind of talked about it before, but where do you source your mushrooms from, and maybe some of the other ingredients like cacao?
It depends on our product. So like our tinctures are 100% Hawaii sourced or North American source. During the Maui fires, one of our lion's mane farmers lost 70% of their accounts overnight that they were selling fresh lion's mane to. So we had them send it to us dehydrated, and we extracted it for our tincture line. We're actually a Next D finalist for Sustainable Supplement at Expo West. So our tinctures are more of our craft Hawaii source products. Our powders we source from Asia, specifically China, which are the original purveyors and cultivators of mushrooms. We wouldn't have this knowledge and breadth of the mushroom pharmacopoeia if it was not for them. But still we do our due diligence and third-party test anything we import for heavy metals, pesticides, microbes to ensure safety and quality assurance. And those are for more of our powder stuff. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. So someone who's new to the mushroom world and things like that, what product would you recommend first?
Anyone new to the mushroom world, the first product I would recommend is either a mix. So like in our case, we have an 8 mushroom mix, which is 8 different functional mushrooms in one. It's kind of like the multivitamin approach. Someone just getting into it, they don't want to have all these different potions and herbs lying around. They just want one thing. I recommend the 8 mushroom mix or the 8 mushroom cacao mix, which we have, or our 8 mushroom coffee. But beyond that, I feel like brain health is something everybody is looking for. We're all overstimulated today. Our dopamine is fried from our phones and scrolling. So I feel like lion's mane is a pretty relevant mushroom with the benefits of focus and attention and memory. So I would say either a mix or lion's mane.
What is the best time to ingest this? Like to have in replacement of your morning coffee, or can you have it kind of later in the day?
So the best time to consume functional mushroom products kind of depends on what mushroom you're using. Obviously, if you're looking for more of that brain and energy, earlier in the day, I would use my lion's mane and cordyceps. But reishi has studies showing it helps with like relaxation and sleep. So that one I always recommend later in the day. Obviously, you wouldn't take it in the coffee form, and some people are pretty sensitive to cacao. They want to take the cacao form, and that's why we have some pure reishi extract offerings as like a healthy nightcap. So it kind of depends on what function you're looking for, determines what time of day you take it. Most people, out of convenience, mix it in their morning, elixir of choice, smoothie, coffee. But a lot of people use it in the afternoon when they would like maybe reach for caffeine but don't want to disrupt their sleep cycle. They would take something non-caffeinated then.
Can you talk more specifically about like what each one can do for the body
Absolutely.
and the effects that it has?
Yep. So lion's mane helps with cognition, memory, and nerve health. Actually creates new nerve cells in your body. Cordyceps helps with energy. It also helps with physical endurance. It increases your body's ability to withstand lactic acid, which is that feeling when your like legs tire out, you're sore. Yeah, it actually increases the amount of lactic acid your body can withstand, thus allowing you to go further, faster, etc. Reishi, again, most notably helps with sleep and relaxation, but also good for the immune system, cardiovascular health. It's known as the mushroom of immortality in China because they literally will use it for so many different things. Chaga is a big one for immunity. Turkey tail as well has a study showing it reduces breast cancer cells in the body, so very important for women. And those are the biggest ones, but we also do like shiitake, maitake, and tremella, which are also good for the immune system. Tremella is actually good for the skin as well, but those are the biggest ones. The first four I mentioned were the biggest ones.
A lot of people, when they hear the word shrooms or mushrooms, they're like, oh, that's drugs. Like, how do you, what do you want to tell viewers who are hesitant to use your product because they associate mushrooms with like the drug mushroom?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so there's a class of mushrooms that are hallucinogenic that contain psilocybin, which is a psychoactive hallucinogenic property that is it's been used in religious practices in South America for thousands of years. It is the shroom in popular culture, but that is a separate set of these mushrooms, and all the mushrooms that we talk about are more rooted in traditional Chinese medicine as well as modern clinical studies. So of the same kingdom of fungi, but just a different subset. I obviously have personal experience with psychoactive mushrooms and encourage people to pursue those in a safe setting, particularly with a sitter that is experienced, but not necessary. But yeah, these are different, and people all the time come up to us and are like, are these magic mushrooms? And like, I'm here to inform people that all mushrooms are magic, but just not going to make you hallucinate, which can be useful. But again, these are different. These are like over the counter, if you will. Like they sell some of these in the grocery store in the produce section, like lion's mane. They're safe, effective, well studied, legal.
If I were to purchase lion's mane, could I just eat that like raw, or is it better to have in a powder? Is it better to have cooked?
Quick background: mushrooms are made out of chitin, which is the strongest natural polymer that exists. It's the same thing that exoskeletons of shellfish and insects are made of, so it's very strong. Plants are made out of cellulose, which is more digestible, but chitin, most people can't digest that, so it is important that you don't eat mushrooms raw for the most part, especially some of these medicinal ones, which are really hard and woody. So I recommend, and most people recommend, that you always cook your mushrooms or extract them. And cooking is a form of extraction, using heat and oil or butter to pull out the compounds and break down that chitin, unlock it so your stomach can absorb it. So I recommend if you're buying fresh mushrooms in the store, don't eat them raw, but definitely cook them. That's a great way to get the medicinal properties. But again, some of these medicinal mushrooms are classified as medicinal and not culinary because they don't taste good even if you saute them. They like literally taste like wood. So it's important to like extract them with alcohol or powderize them and expose them to heat. And then that's why we mix them with like coffee and smoothies and things that are like already palatable or earthy.
Can pets consume medicinal mushrooms? And do you have any products that pets can consume?
So long story short, yes, pets can consume functional medicinal mushroom products. Obviously not our ones with cacao because dogs are allergic to cacao, but and there's like a ratio, it's somewhere on our website of like the correct milligrams per kilogram of the body weight of the pet or horse or whatever it is. But yeah, they totally can. There's a good study actually on lion's mane and dogs showing it reduces inflammation. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and we don't have a pet product per se, but we have a lot of consumers, and we encourage them to mix some of our powders with their, get it into their pet's diet somehow. And yeah, so yeah.
So weird. Does it do similar things that it does for the human body?
As far as we know, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, the studies aren't necessarily parallel. It's hard to give some dogs memory tests in these like studies and stuff, but by testing like certain biomarkers in their body, we can see it has anti-inflammation and stuff like that. So.
Okay, and what about children? I assume they can too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very safe for children as well. Like we recommend parents if their kids like struggling with attention in school, lion's mane is a good potential, and cordyceps for asthma, stuff like that. But yeah, it's safe for kids as well.
Wasn't there a show that came out recently where the mushrooms like took over their brain, they became zombies?
Yeah, that's The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. Did you watch that?
I did. Yeah.
What did you think about
I don't know. I thought it was entertaining. Yeah. I like zombie apocalypse stuff. But yeah, so that was actually based on a cordyceps. So the cordyceps in the wild parasitizes insects and essentially takes over the nervous system, and it does some crazy stuff to them. So, but you can also cultivate it, which ours is cultivated by farmers, and we extract them, and they're just cultivated on substrate that's not insects. So it's like no insects were harmed in the making of our products. But
okay, and I don't have to worry about turning into a zombie.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about turning into a zombie. There's no case of the cordyceps actually taking over humans, and improbable. Anything's possible, but yeah, improbable. Yeah.
Why do you think people should eat more mushrooms?
One, again, I'm a big scientific literature. I look to the proof of these studies, especially clinical studies on humans. And there are a lot on the benefits of mushrooms on people, showing their benefits. So, and again, that ranges from immunity to cognition to energy. And then just personal testimonies from myself and hundreds of our customers are having positive results from these mushrooms that are like, they used to have an afternoon crash from their regular routines, or they just were feeling unhealthy or having symptoms of X or Y ailment, and mushrooms help them through that. And it's a very understudied but very important part of our society. Mushrooms have been used for thousands of years by cultures, the healthiest cultures all around the world. We're more closely related to mushrooms than we are to plants. We share more common DNA with mushrooms than they do with plants. Pretty interesting stuff. And yeah, the clinical studies, I think, speak for themselves. And again, I just think everybody would feel a lot healthier, cognitively clear, and have more energy and immunity by consuming these things. What's crazy is like, we know all these mushrooms, the portobello, the lion's mane, all these things we see at the store, but it's all a very small sliver of the total world of fungi. So we only know, actually, let me throw this to you. What percentage of total fungus do you think we know in the world? Just take a guess.
Probably like 10%.
That's pretty close actually. Yeah, we estimates are around 7%. So we only know 7% of the entire fungi that occur in the world, and that 7% includes all these mushrooms that have all these wonderful benefits with clinical studies, even like antibiotics such as penicillin, which was the first antibiotic that like revolutionized Western medicine as we know it, is a fungi. But yeah, it's all within this. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah. So it's all in this tiny 7% in this entire world of fungi. So there's so much that we don't know. So I'm big on educating people on like, it's a low-hanging fruit to make contributions as a community science member in the world. You don't have to have a degree in mycology. You can easily just take a picture with your phone of something you find in nature, and it might be a new mushroom. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting and fascinating field that has real-life attributes. Like people are making alternative materials with fungi, such as styrofoam replacements, leather replacements. Mushrooms could also break down toxins in the ecosystem, such as motor oil, plastics. They can actually break that down in the ecosystem and clean up damaged soil, groundwater, etc. So fungi are amazing, but they depend on humans to kind of bring them to the front of our society for their benefits.